Hello, hello. I'm trying to put the slides together so it can fit. Hello, hello there. Hello, everyone. Oh, right. I'm going to a story time today. I'm talking about the story of Jenny, and there are lessons to be learned about Jenny's story. There is really no set time for courtship. You can't, even if you court somebody for, say, you caught somebody for 3 years, you cannot boast that you obviously somebody is known to you completely before getting married to that person. So it's just the grace of God. Marriage is a risk, to be quite honest. So if you say, oh, whether you courted that person for 6 months, for 3 months, for 2 years or 3 years, there are some people they can actually kind of hide their character or their behavioral pattern until later. Marriage is a journey. Even when you get married, you might not know gradually. There are some people from the beginning of the marriage, they start having problems. There are some in between, they start having problems. There are some maybe after 30 years, that's when the problems will start coming. And remember, there are some problems in marriages that are not just physical. Some of the problems are spiritual. Some of them can be caused by jealous friends. Some of the problems can be caused by jealous friends who actually intentionally give wrong advice. Some of them can be caused by extended family members who are greedy. They just think only about themselves. And so obviously they're only thinking about their monetary gain. So they do everything to rip off a relationship which ordinarily would have been a good one. They don't care. They just rip it apart. There are some there are also some relationships that obviously the couples, either the husband or the wife, they use their own hands to cause problems in the relationship by opening up the doors of the marriage to allowing third parties to come in form of um, infidelity. So the moment a wife or a husband steps out of the matrimonial home and defiles the matrimonial bed, problems can start coming from left, right, and center, because the Bible clearly said that the marriage bed remains undefiled. So the moment that third party comes into the relationship, you are not sure who that third party is, both on the man's side or the woman's side, because people move around with different spirits and all of that. And like we know, for the men, there are some desperate women out there who can do anything. They are so desperate, they don't it's like they are just like a moving train that has no brake. They, in their desire and their desperation to get a man or to get money from a man or actually to take the man permanently, they go all out spiritually to do anything to bewitch that man. Or sometimes it could be a woman on the other side to bewitch the woman just so the person can be with them. So that is why people shouldn't actually set themselves up to fail by actually stepping out of their matrimonial home. So when I hear people actually, when people talk about, oh, after all, people are adults. If the marriage is not working out, and you don't blame the man. Nobody snatches a man. No, you don't blame the man. If the marriage is not working out, let everybody go their separate. I just kind of, people actually think that marriage is just something that you just go to a tap, turn on the knob, and whether there is water, there is no water. The day there's water, you fetch. The day there's no water, you don't fetch. It is deeper than that. It is deeper than that. There are children involved in the, especially when there are children involved in the marriage. So it is deeper than that. It is not enough for us to now say, oh, it is the man's choice, or if it is the woman's choice. If she's not happy, let her leave. The thing is, from the beginning, if a man or a woman knows that they don't love um, whosoever it is they are going out with. Don't even start off the relationship in the first place. Don't start it. It's better not even to start it off in the first place from the beginning. Don't start it off. Allow sleeping dogs lie. Don't start it off at all. There is no need for that because there are lives involved. There are lives involved. There are lives involved. It is better not to start off what you know you cannot finish. There is no need causing people to end up in psychiatric hospitals. There is no need causing people to fall sick. I think it's high time during premarital classes, people should begin to be counseled and to be tutored as to the future, what marriage really, really means, what it means, and how it can affect people in case one party decides to renege on their promises later in life, or one party in the marriage decides to now become disloyal. We need to begin to be futuristic, to open the eyes of couples to understand what they are going into. Marriage is not for boys. Marriage is not for girls. Marriage is not for reckless people who don't care about the people they hurt, who don't care about the future of their children, who don't care about the future of their grandchildren, who don't care about their own destinies. They are reckless. They don't care. They don't. Marriage is not for people who don't understand actions and consequences. Marriage is not for a man or a woman who doesn't want to be accountable. Marriage is not for a man or a woman who doesn't want to be accountable. If you want to be married and you want to stay married, marriage has got rules and regulations. So be ready to be accountable. Because if you don't want to be accountable, your marriage will break. Even if you divorce your first wife or your first husband and you move to the next person and you still carry that same behavioral pattern into that second marriage, you fail to be accountable. That second marriage will break. If you leave the second marriage and go on to the third one and you still carry that nasty smelling behavior into that third marriage, that marriage will break. There is not rocket science. There is no two ways about it. There's no two ways about it. So let's not deceive ourselves. Marriage has got rules and regulations, principles. You see? Principles. Just like every other institution. You just cannot eat your cake and have it. If you want peace and longevity in your marriage, you need to abide by the rules and the regulations. So marriage is a it's a serious thing. It's a serious bond. It's not for players. It's not for reckless people. It's not for people who say, I don't care. Marriage is for people who remember consequences. Marriage is for people who understand that their life depends on the success of that marriage. Marriage is for people who want to be intentional. When they get married, they become intentional. Marriage is for people who understand that it is not possible for you to go to bed with every woman in the world. It is not possible for you to sleep with every man in the world. Marriage, in essence, marriage is for disciplined people who are disciplined, people who have integrity. So, what am I saying in essence? Despite not um, despite the fact that it is not possible to actually know somebody within a period of 6 months, within a period of 1 year or 3 years, no matter how long the courtship, somebody can still pull up, spring up surprises on you at any point in time during the journey of marriage. Having said that, it is at least important that we, during courtship, that we begin to take time to look out for certain red flags. We must not be blinded. That is why it is important that from the beginning of that relationship, during courtship, that's why it is advisable to not involve yourself emotionally by getting too intimate with the opposite sex. Because the moment you become intimate, all emotions are running wild. You are no more in your right senses. You cannot think straight. You cannot analyze things. You cannot evaluate things. You cannot see anything wrong with that other person. Even though the red flags are there, you now keep a blind eye to everything. And then when you now go into the marriage, the thing now escalates. And you now start saying, oh, I saw this thing, but I don't know what happened. I saw it. I thought it was going to change. I thought she was going to change. So this was what happened to Jenny. There was pressure. She was in her 40s. She was a working class lady. She was a successful working class lady. Under pressure, all her younger ones had gotten married and everything. And lo and behold, this guy came from abroad and saw her, I think, at the bank or so, where, and obviously they exchanged their pleasantries and all, one thing led to the other, and then they exchanged telephone numbers and they started talking, and he would invite her, take her out to eat, take her out for lunch, um, you know, visit her at her place of work. So during that short visit back in Nigeria, about 3 weeks, they kept on seeing themselves. So there was no sign of anything that he had mental health problem and everything. He packaged himself properly. When he went back, traveled back abroad, they were still in touch, talking, telephone calls, WhatsApp calls, and everything. And then a couple of months later, he went back. It was on that second trip he actually proposed to her. He went straight to say to her he didn't have time to waste. He's a matured man. He wanted to get married. He had seen her. He liked her and everything. Like, she's like, I mean, where have you been all my life? There was no taking time to study this man, to ask questions, to find out who his friends are, to ask about his family members, to at least even know a little about him. There are two things that, especially women who are in Africa, once you hear that a guy is abroad, you don't want to check. You don't even know whether he has a wife somewhere. You don't know whether he has a mental health problem. You don't know whether he's in debt. As far as he's abroad, you don't even, there are some of them, they don't even have a job. You don't know whether he has a job or not. As far as he's abroad, they just want to leave Nigeria, leave everything they are doing, follow the guy. Lo and behold, by the time they get to the UK or to the US or somewhere in Europe, the whole truth, it will now dawn on them. So this was what happened in the case of Jenny. As a matter of fact, they quietly went to the registry. That was what he wanted, and she was good. She was okay with it and everything. Invited few friends, did a little ceremony and everything. And the only reason, obviously, to get the marriage certificate so they can have a filing for her to join him. Lo and behold, it was when she touched down at the airport, the whole saga started. The whole saga started. From the airport, he insisted that they should take the train with all the luggages and everything. They were taken from one train station to the other, pulling the suitcases down all the stairways in the train station and everything. She was thinking, I mean, how much does it really cost to take a taxi or something? But insisted they were not going to take a taxi. And by the time they got to his house, right from the throughway, from the entrance, she saw a pile load of dailies, newspapers, piles and piles of newspapers everywhere. Like, she now realized that he stocks things, piles and piles of newspapers, papers, books, filled up all of the furnitures in the living room. And that was where the saga started. So the rules and regulations came in. Before she would go upstairs to the room, she would have to take her shower every single day because, according to him, the outside of the world is the whole of the outside of the world outside their home is polluted. Everybody at the train station is polluted. They have some form of disease or the other. So anytime she goes out and comes back, she must take her bath downstairs before entering into the bedroom. And this continued. This continued. So there was extreme verbal abuse. There was extreme physical abuse. There were times she would be cooking in the city, obviously in the kitchen. The thing with him is he uses one particular pot for boiling water or boiling rice. You dare not use that pot for making a pot of soup or making a pot of stew. You'll be in trouble with him. So there was a time she mistakenly used the pot that was supposed to be used for rice to, obviously she used it to make stew. He came right in the kitchen, carried that hot pot of stew and poured it on her from her head down. Her saving grace on that day was that the stew, when she put it aside, it had already simmered down, so it had already cooled down, but she could still feel the warmth of it all over her body. So it was from one abuse to the other. It was a rude shock. She didn't know where to start from. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know who to discuss with. She didn't know because she had left everything back home in Africa. She had left her job. She had left everything, just thinking that, oh, God had opened ways for her to get married to this man. And, as a matured person and everything, and lo and behold, she suffered this abuse for a period of 15 years. A period of 15. So you can imagine a woman suffering an abuse for a period of 15 years without reporting it, without discussing with nobody. She managed it for a period of 15 years. There were some times she would lock her outside the home. She would be right at the garden and just stay there till the next morning. She didn't think she should call the police and everything. I think one of the reasons why she persevered, according she was scared because she didn't know how to seek advice. She thought people were going to laugh at her. So she just wanted to wait to get her settlement, her settled status before obviously she can take steps to do whatever. But she didn't know that if she had sought help, that there are, again, if you are a woman or indeed you're a man and you're listening to this, there are help out there. You can seek help. There are organizations, women's aid, charity organizations who actually help victims of domestic violence. There are also solicitors firms, lawyers firms, and all of that who can actually take on your matter on a legal aid basis, sometimes, for free because you're a victim of domestic violence, so they will be able to help in order to advise you. And concerning your immigration status, the moment you can establish that you're a victim of domestic violence, obviously, on that basis, you don't actually need that man anymore or the woman to actually be able to file in. So on that basis, once you have the proof and everything, all the evidential proof to show that you're a victim, on that basis, an application can be put in, lodged in on your behalf as a victim of domestic violence, and you'll be granted permanent residency. So do not be scared because what it is she waited for that long. She could have been killed. She could have been disfigured. I'm not sure even right now what may have happened to her mental state, how damaged, the extent of the damage, because she didn't even seek help. She didn't go for counseling or anything like that. So this is why it is always very important to speak up. In the first place, even when she came in, this husband of hers tried as much as possible to sever every link that she had with friends, he would monitor her, he would follow her everywhere. So it is important that even as women, no matter how old you are, no matter how much you think that you're under pressure, ask questions, especially when a man comes from abroad and they say they are coming to propose, they want to marry or something. Ask questions, give it time. Don't rush because you don't know who this person is. Sometimes a lot of people, they may be living abroad alone, and sometimes they may have gone through traces of depression and all of that. It may be affecting them and you will not know. So that is why it's important not to rush into it to say, okay, a guy has come from abroad, I'm coming abroad, my life has changed, I'm removing my family from poverty. It does not happen that way in all cases. A lot of women have been killed by men who actually brought them from Africa and took them abroad, and they ended up killing them. So you don't know, sometimes some of them may have mental health problems. You need to ask questions, get to know who his friends are, get to know who his family is, befriend one of two of them, at least try to ask questions. Why are you not married at this age? What happened to your first wife? If possible, if there's a way you can even find a way to have a one-on-one with a first wife, if that is possible, so that at least you can pick some information here and there to find out why did you leave him or why did he leave you or something like that. That way you'll be able to know. I'm actually particular about the issues of cases of people with mental health problems who their victims may not even know that they've got mental health problems and they end up getting married to them. And lo and behold, when they bring them and then they now begin to see these traces of mental health, some weird behavior. In this guy's case, I think he had OCD. He would not eat, like a particular plate that he uses to put soup or stew. You cannot use it to put rice or some other meal. He will break it. Even before the pandemic and all of that, you would also always see him wear a face mask because he is actually under the impression or under the false belief that everybody's breast is smelling. That's what he actually believes in his head. So you can see that this is somebody who actually needs help himself, but packaged himself so nicely and traveled back to Africa and then proposes marriage to somebody who obviously did not ask questions, did not find out anything about him, quickly rushed and got married, thinking that obviously just because she wanted to get married. So it's always good to ask questions. It's always good to find out about who that man is, especially when they're coming from abroad. It's always good to find out things, to have chats with their friends, extended family members, cousins. One day, somehow, one of them will be able to tell you one or two things. If you are courting a man or a woman and then that man or woman says to you, oh, you see that my cousin, stay away from him. I don't like, you know that there is something that that person is hiding. Go behind and befriend that cousin. There's something that cousin knows about him or her that he or she is trying to hide away from you. So always ask questions. Always ask questions. Don't be too much in a hurry. Don't be too much in a hurry to get into marriage, especially if the person is abroad and you are in Africa. Find out who he is. There are some, they come and they just want to bring in the woman to just work 24/7 for them while they are sleeping under the duvet. They don't have a job. Or some of them, they just go out there under the tree. They're playing, maybe to an African restaurant where they're playing draft and eating a seal while they send the wives out there just to work for them. So ask questions. Ask questions. If possible, visit the man abroad, maybe stay for about maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, and then just check out things, go back, and then finally, when you've made up your mind, then you can now come finally to get married to him. But don't resign from your job, you know, in Africa. Just take time, take leave. You understand? And I just say you are going on a leave, and then just come and visit for 3 weeks. Find out what is going on to know. And then after you've tried to meet some of the friends, some of the family members, and you will know that okay, this is the kind of person I want to get married to. It is not possible that you'll be talking to somebody on the phone, even if it means talking to that person on the phone for continuously every day for a period of 3 months or 6 months. A telephone conversation is not a true picture. It does not show a true picture of who a person is. It's not possible that you can know somebody through telephone conversation. That's not possible. And then the person now says, okay, let's fix a date. I'll send you money, buy everything, and you just come. And then it's like a blind date. It's like you really don't know that person. That's a big risk. So coming to join the person abroad is be ready for anything that unfolds from there. It is a big, big risk. It's a big risk. It will appear that this man in question, this was the same thing. He had a mental breakdown. This was the same thing that happened. That was why the wife left him. That because Jenny did not ask questions, did not find out and everything, and she was in a hurry to join a man abroad, she just actually just married a man who has a mental health problem, who had OCD, who had no clue. Because if he had actually harmed her or actually deleted her, his lawyers will come and obviously plead diminished responsibilities, and he will go scot-free. Or his sentence will be reduced, but should have been gone then. So this is how serious it is. She actually used her own hands, stepped into a lion's den without knowing that this man has got mental health problems. Just because somebody is abroad does not mean that the person is okay, does not mean that the person is wealthy, does not mean that the person is going to love you, that the person is going to be a good husband. You can still get married to a good person in Africa and the two of you will succeed. Of course, you can get married to somebody abroad and I'm just saying that do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. Don't just take all that glitters on the face value and just say, oh, well, this person is from abroad 3 weeks and you could start talking about marriage before you know you've joined that person. Do your due diligence. It is very important that you do your due diligence. It is better to call off an engagement than to end up being a divorcee. The stress and the trauma and the pain of divorce cannot be overemphasized. So it is always better from the beginning of courtship to do your due diligence and don't be in a hurry to say I do. Don't be in a hurry to say I do to a man because the man has come from abroad. Don't be in a hurry to say I do to a woman because the woman is abroad. And again, you don't have an intention of actually marrying her. You just want her to bring you abroad. And then once you now settle yourself, your immigration status and everything, you now decide to abandon her. That is actually not fair. A lot of women have been scammed also in this area. I have a lot of emails have been sent to me or people sharing their stories regarding that aspect. I'm going to actually talk about it and highlight the stories as time go in my subsequent videos, if time permits. You see, so always do your due diligence, ask questions, ask questions. The time of courtship is not the time for asking a man, buy me a designer's perfume, designer's bag, or take me for shopping, pay my house rent. The time of courtship is the time of research, carrying out research, asking questions, checking, finding out about who this man is. Because marriage is a lifetime thing. So it is important that you begin to try to understand and to get used to this person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Ask questions, ask people about him, around him questions, get to know his friends. If his friends have the traces of being promiscuous, ask questions, because if he is not promiscuous and he's always around friends who are promiscuous, what has light got to do with darkness? You know that there is something definitely that has joined him and those his friends. It's possible that he may be pretending because he is just like his friend. Because I mean, it is said that if you tell me your friends, I will tell you who you are. So if you see him around friends who are womanizing, changing women as if the women are running out of season, and he's comfortable with such friends, he's comfortable, obviously, to continue with that relationship. You know that he himself, he is like them. It's just that he's pretending, because as time goes on, if you end up marrying him, all of that will now begin to unfold, because those his friends, they are masters in the game. They know that he's part of them. Even when you call them to say this is what their friend is doing, they are going to cover up for him, because they are all birds of the same feather. So ask questions. Watch his friend, the character, the ideologies of his friends. Why is he with these people? How long has he been with these people? So whatever it is that you see his friends do, that's the kind of person he is also. So ask questions, do your due diligence. I hope um, I've been able to kind of shared this story of Jenny. I hope one or two women, especially from Africa, who are so interested in marrying men abroad, I hope this has kind of, obviously, this will kind of help you in case a man comes from abroad, is getting to Easter period, even during Christmas, where they come and people are getting ready, waiting for people who are coming from abroad. Not all that glitters is gold. I'm not saying men who are coming from abroad to Africa to marry women, I'm not saying all of them are bad. I'm saying do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. Know who you are married to. Ask questions. Marriage is a serious, serious matter. Ask questions, because there will be children involved. Your destiny will be involved. The destiny of your children will be involved. The community too will be involved. Ask questions and do your due diligence. Please, I'm trying to grow this channel. Help me to share this video as much as possible. Share amongst your friends, like and comment. I want also this platform to be as interactive as possible. We have so much content to obviously to put out there, but the only way you can help it to be able to reach out to as many people as possible is to help to share to share my video, and then to subscribe to my YouTube channel. God bless you as you work with us, as you work alongside with us to help to grow this channel. Thank you very much. I'll be with you in a bit. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. I hope you have a nice day. Bye. Love you.